Hello, this is Eduardo Alvarez. I would like to start this video with one question. If a friend of yours tells you that he's planning to kill somebody and you believe him, what would you do? Help him? Try to stop him? Ignore what he tells you? If he goes through with murdering someone, he would go to jail, but he would also commit a most grievous sin, and he might go to hell because of it. What is my responsibility? From a moral point of view, I should go to the police and report what this friend of mine had told me. If I don't do anything, I would be guilty of the crime as if I had committed it myself, not legally, but in the eyes of God. The purpose of writing about this fictitious situation is to talk about a similar but definitely not fictitious reality coming this November with the elections in our country. There are many candidates running for various positions in the government, and they have publicly told everybody that they will support murdering babies in the womb. They call it the freedom of choice. Let's examine this so-called freedom. After creating the earth and everything there, God said, "Let us make man in our own image, in the likeness of ourselves." Do you think that Adam or Eve looked like God? Of course not. God is a spirit, and so were Adam and Eve, although they were endowed with a physical body, but their essence was spiritual. Here is where people of faith think one way and others think differently. If you believe in God and His action in creating a human being, you have to understand that God is creating a human being in the image of Himself, God, a spirit. The spirit of that human being in the womb is an integral part of the union of a single sperm cell from a man and an egg cell from the woman. You don't look like God. You don't have a body yet, but God sees you as a spiritual person. At that moment, God knows you as a person, and He, being God, knows everything about you, and you're only two cells just fused together. Two passages in the Bible talk about this life in the womb. One, a clear statement by God Himself to the prophet Jeremiah. He says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you came to birth, I consecrated you." You can read this in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. In the Gospel of Luke, we read, Mary set out at that time and went as quickly as she could into the hill country of a town in Judah. She was about 1 week pregnant. She went into Zechariah's house and greeted Elizabeth. Now it happened that as soon as Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the child in her leapt in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. She gave a loud cry and said, "Of all women, you are the most blessed, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. Why should I be honored with a visit from the mother of my Lord?" Think of it. That Lord is 1 week since conception. "Look, the moment that your greeting reached my ears, the child in my womb leapt for joy." Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant. A 6-month embryo in Elizabeth recognizes the voice of a woman with a child in her womb who is only 1 week old. God also says in the 6th commandment, "You shall not murder." What is our responsibility in these murdering of babies in the womb? In the Catholic Catechism, number 1868, we read, "Moreover, we have a responsibility for the sins committed by others when we cooperate in them by approving them or by not disclosing or not hindering them when we have the obligation to do so." As easily seen, if you are a God-fearing Catholic or Christian of any faith, voting for a candidate that promotes this murdering in the womb would make you accomplice of their sin by not hindering it, a grievous sin that could lead you to hell. Another most serious responsibility is that of the shepherds in the church. All bishops and priests have the responsibility of advising the laity on the gravity of this sin. Silence about this sin carries with it the grievous sin of complicity. which could also deprive any shepherd of an eternity in heaven. I have heard Bishop Strickland from Texas talking about this responsibility, but in my parish, St. Malachi in Tamarack, Florida, with 4 priests celebrating masses, not a word has been said about the need to follow Catholic teachings in deciding who to vote for. Silence from bishops and priests about voting according to the teachings of the Church carries a grave responsibility for them. The idea that clergy should not get involved with politics does not apply here. Eternal lives of souls are in play in the choices people will make, and the shepherds are commended by God Himself to guide them. Viva Cristo Rey, and God bless. Point blank, if you say you're a Catholic or Christian of other church, decide, will you follow Jesus' teaching about sanctity of human life, or will you vote for Democrat candidates all willing to kill babies in the womb?